Well, a sweet note after a sour one, because if Wednesday was all about the disappointment with Vignesh Phogat, there is some looking up with the bronze in hockey. There is also hope with Aman Sehrawat in the semi-finals in wrestling. And of course, Neeraj Chopra, Bharat Golden Boy, will be up later on Thursday night in Bharat or Indian Standard Time, close to midnight. And let's hope we get that gold, that all-important gold too. But we're going to turn our attention, ladies and gentlemen, to other matters of importance and what happened in Parliament. Here's a 2019 report of the Delhi Minorities Commission that's been accessed by CNN News 18 that lists a number of Waqf properties that have been encroached. And we talk about this because the Waqf Amendment Bill 2024 was presented in Parliament and then sent to the JPC. But what the findings of the commission say, they go on to list a few Hindu religious structures as well as illegal. They claim that the Shiv Mandir in Delhi's Jangpura is actually built on Waqf property. Now, CNN News 18 went down on ground and spoke to the Pandit of this mandir, and he said that he was never communicated to by any government official that the structure is illegal and that the mandir registered in 1962 had all its documents in its name and in the name of the trust that founded the mandir. No notice has ever been received by the temple administration. They also claim to have all the registry documents and claim that they have been taking care of this temple since 1962.
आप मंदिर के प्रधान हैं और काफ़ी टाइम से आप मंदिर की देखभाल कर रहे हैं। ये प्रॉपर्टी बताई जा रही है जो दिल्ली माइनॉरिटीज़ कमीशन की रिपोर्ट थी, 2019 की रिपोर्ट है, उसमें इसका मेंशन है कि ये प्रॉपर्टी इलीगल है। इसका बाहर से एक फ़ोटो लेके भी उन्होंने रिपोर्ट में अटैच किया है। कब से आप मंदिर की देखभाल कर रहे हैं और थोड़ा इसका बैकग्राउंड बताएं।
हमारे पहले दादा की सेवा करते थे मंदिर की, फिर फादर करने लगे, अब मैं करने लगा। मैक्सिमम मेरे को 7 साल हुए हैं, उससे पहले हमारे दादा करते थे। तो ये 1900 आप देख पा रहे हो, जैसे 1962 से ये मंदिर बना हुआ है, आप देख लो। इसकी स्थापना देखो, बहुत पुराना लगा हुआ है ये बोर्ड और रजिस्ट्रेड भी है, नंबर भी है इसका, देखो ऊपर। तो
62 में निर्माण हुआ था।
हाँ, इसका 62 में ये स्थापना हुई है इस मंदिर की, और जब से अब तक ये हम ही संभालते आ रहे हैं।
तो कभी जैसे कुछ इलीगल बताया गया स्ट्रक्चर को, तो कभी कोई सरकार से नोटिस आया हो, दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट से
ऐसा कोई नोटिस नहीं आया, ना दिल्ली सरकार से, ना कुछ ऐसा। जैसा शुरू से ऐसा आता है वैसे ही आ रहा है। मतलब हम कोई नोटिस नहीं है जो हम ये बोलेंगे वक्फ बोर्ड ने हमें कुछ भेजा है।
और ये ज़मीन को लेकर, इस मंदिर की जो ज़मीन है, इसको लेकर कुछ कभी किसी अधिकारी ने आप लोगों को अप्रोच किया हो कि मंदिर की ज़मीन किसके नाम पे है? क्या
ऐसा तो किसी अधिकारी ने नहीं पूछा, और वैसे भी ये मंदिर हमारे बाबूजी के हुए हैं नाम। और अगर आप बोलोगे तो हम अभी गए हुए हैं, वो जब आएंगे तो आपको हम पेपर भी दिखा देंगे उसके।
तो कागज़ वगैरह पूरी रजिस्ट्री
है, देखो उसमें रजिस्ट्री नंबर भी लिखा हुआ है, आप देख पा रहे हो। तो 2337 लिखा हुआ है।
Now, that's the investigation on ground, and there are multiple reports, and further investigation revealed that there are many properties where there is perhaps a certain level of malpractice, involvement of land mafia, and allegations of deliberately trying to take over someone's property, usurping property on the grounds of Waqf, that have all been made. Meanwhile, moments after the amended Waqf bill was introduced in Parliament, there were scenes of chaos, uproar led by the opposition in the House. Union Minister for Minority Affairs Kiran Rijiju led a point-by-point counter to the opposition's charges. The opposition called it unconstitutional and an attack on religious freedom, while Kiran Rijiju said that with this bill, there is no interference in the freedom of any religious body. Forget about taking anyone's rights. This bill has actually been brought in place to ensure that the rights are given to those who have never got them. Targeting the UPA government, he said amendment made in 2013 defeated the purpose of law, and he defended the amendments, echoing the Sachar committee called for broad basing of the Waqf boards, and they've only followed that. That's what Kiran Rijiju had to say. The matter has been sent to the JPC for the moment, and we'll have to wait and watch in that all-party deliberation what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, even as the Waqf Amendment Bill has been referred to the Joint Parliamentary Committee or JPC, we break down for you 15 instances of alleged misuse of the Waqf Act, or instances when attempts were made to grab land in the guise of Waqf property. The first instance, the Waqf board in Tamil Nadu in 2022 claimed ownership of an entire village, Tiruchendurai, taking the villagers by shock. The village had a 1500-year-old Hindu Sundareshwar temple as well. Villagers were in shock on how the Waqf could lay claim on a temple property as well. Interestingly, a 20-page document that was handed over by the sub-office registrar of the village to the villagers showed that there was no evidence regarding Muslims residing in the area, and papers proved that resettlement took place in 1927-28. There was also no information about Muslims holding property in the area. The second instance, Jatlana village in Haryana's Yamunanagar district witnessed the overriding powers of the Waqf when a land parcel with a Gurudwara was transferred to the Waqf. The land had no history of any Muslim settlement or mosque being there. In fact, in July in 2022, residents of Jatlana village in Haryana's Yamunanagar district protested court rulings granting the Waqf board possession of a Gurudwara land. The third instance, in November 2021, the Surat Municipal Corporation headquarters at Muglisara had been declared Waqf property. The reason given was that during the reign of Shah Jahan, the property had been donated by the emperor to his daughter as a Waqf property, and therefore the claim could be justified even today, almost 400 years later. In 2018, the Sunni Waqf board stated before the apex court that the Taj Mahal is owned by the Almighty but must be listed as a property of the Sunni Waqf board for practical purposes. UP Sunni Waqf Board also claimed that the Kashi Vishwanath Mandir is Waqf property and that the disputed property upon which the Gyanvapi Masjid stands today is Waqf. A Shivalaya in Lucknow had been registered as a Waqf property in collusion with the Uttar Pradesh Shia Central Waqf Board. It advocates arguing on usurping of the Hindu Shivalaya stated that Hindu pagoda is mentioned in the revenue record of 1862, whereas the Waqf Board was created in 1908. A seventh instance, in 2021, the Waqf Board had written an application to the Gujarat High Court claiming ownership of 2 islands in Bet Dwarka in Devbhumi Dwarka. In 2022, the Gujarat High Court rejected that plea. Eighth instance, in August 2014, the Waqf Board sent a notice to the Aurangabad Municipal Corporation claiming ownership of a disputed piece of land near Jalna Road and urging it to halt the process of obtaining land from another party for road widening. In 2013, Telangana Waqf Board opposed the Hyderabad Municipal Corporation's move to acquire a portion of land belonging to the Green Mosque in the city's Banjara Hill for road widening. The board contested that the land was a Waqf property while the government had maintained that the land actually belonged to them. 10th instance, in 2018, the Maharashtra government conducted a survey that revealed the presence of 1,700 additional Waqf properties in 2 districts of Pune and Parbhani. 273 new properties in Parbhani, 1,465 in Pune were detected. When the last Waqf survey was conducted in 2002, Parbhani and Pune had a total of 1,189 and 153 properties respectively. This showed that the Waqf lands being much greater than those that have actually been recorded. In 2019, in a written reply to the BJP MP Ajay Nishad's question, Minorities Affairs Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi told the Lok Sabha that a total of 16,937 Waqf Board properties were under encroachment in the country, including 5,610 in Punjab, the highest state with encroachments in the country. In 2017, Maharashtra government under the BJP had suspended a former head of a Muslim organization in charge of land endowments amid growing concern that the Waqf land and property set aside for religious or charitable use is being sold illegally onto developers. 13th instance, in April 2024, the Delhi High Court observed unauthorized constructions in disputed Waqf properties. The High Court flagged the issue relating to the dispute about 123 properties on which the Delhi Waqf Board laid its claim while the centre had delisted them. 14th instance, in January 2024, the Waqf Board filed a special petition in the Supreme Court claiming ownership on some portion of land which the Uttarakhand High Court had declared to be that of the railways in Banbhulpur area of Haldwani in Nainital district. In August 2014, the 15th instance I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, the Omar Abdullah-led government in Jammu and Kashmir stated that more than 360 canals of Waqf land of commercial value is under the army's possession in the border district of Poonch, and out of which the army is paying rent for only 21 canals. Important areas, land not belonging to the Waqf has been claimed. Is this in connivance with the land mafia? Many questions arise. We have to wait and watch what happens in the JPC. Throughout 2023, all stakeholders were consulted. It's a very comprehensive amendment list that's been brought in consultation with all groups involved or somewhere connected with Waqf. even the aggrieved parties. Shazia Almi, national spokesperson of the BJP, is with us. Adil Hassan, spokesperson of AIMIM, with us. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, scientist, columnist, commentator, with us, author, with us. Tausif Khan, lawyer, political analyst, leans towards the Trinamool Congress, with us. My namaste and Jai Hind to everybody. Adil Hassan, where is the problem? If the complaints are coming from within the Muslim community, if the Waqf itself is not representing all of the Muslim community, why is there a problem if there should be an amendment for the better? The AIMM has been very sharp in its comments about the amendment and the agenda, with Mr. Asaduddin Owaisi leading the fight in Parliament.
My leader Akbar Owaisi Sahib already questioned in the assembly earlier before the Telangana government that established a SIT. We want encroachment-free Waqf lands. The barrister Asaduddin Owaisi Sahib categorically told everything that you are interfering in our system. We don't want. We are an independent entity. We have all. This is the breach of fundamental rights. It is breach of Article 14, 15, 25, 30. Why Modi government wants to interfere in everything? My concern is that we have problem with the Hajj committees. No CEO is appointed. Corruption is deep-rooted. Nobody is looking into it. Motihari Central University is there. After 10 years, no Urdu department. Urdu department is established. Sanskrit is established. Nobody is caring. Pre-matric scholarship, you started from 9, 10, but it needs to be started from class 1. Nobody is looking at it. Jamia Aligarh budget curtailed. Nobody is looking at it. Aligarh Muslim University Kishanganj branch, no fund released by central government. Nobody is looking. Why you are putting a Muslim community in the cage? Modi government must listen that we are independent. We are not. You don't want the PM cares to come under RTI or under a law. But you want everything. Waqf is an independent identity, but CEO is appointed by the state government. And the chairman and the members are all scrutinized by the government. Tribunal Chief Justice appoints the tribunal chairman. Why you are abolishing all these things? Why you are interfering? We don't want anyone from the Muslim community to run a temple. Then why you are coming? Waqf is given by our forefathers or our it is under law that this is for the orphanage, this is for the poor people, but you are not ready to encroach free the land. But you are putting the Muslim community under the cage because Modi government want to appease a certain section of RSS right wing that we are giving the trouble to the Muslim community. Muslim community को चैन से क्यों रहने दिया जाए? बेचैनी है. अगर इतना ही मोहब्बत है तो एंटीलिया जो है मुकेश अंबानी साहब का दिलवा दीजिए. वक्फ की प्रॉपर्टी है, हजारों करोड़ की वक्फ की प्रॉपर्टी है जो इंक्रोच्ड है, वो दिलवा दीजिए. आप क्यों नहीं दिलवाते हैं? आप पैसा नहीं देते हैं, माइनॉरिटी बजट नहीं देते हैं और नया कानून लाते हैं बिना किसी डिस्कशन के, बिना किसी एमपी से पूछे हुए, बिना किसी इंटेलेक्चुअल के किसको खड़ा कर देते. एक मुस्लिम एमपी नहीं, एक मुस्लिम मिनिस्टर बीजेपी का नहीं, एक मुस्लिम रिप्रेजेंटेशन सरकार में नहीं और मुसलमानों की हितैषी. ये कैसा हितैषी है भाई? दिखना भी तो चाहिए. मोदी जी को दिखाइए तो कभी, इंसाफ तो कीजिए मुसलमानों के साथ. विदेश में मुसलमानों से इतने गले मिलते हैं, लेकिन भारत के मुसलमानों से गले मिलने में मोदी जी इतना शर्माते हैं.
आगा खानी मुसलमान है? आदिल हसन, मैं आपसे पूछा, आगा खानी मुसलमान है?
एकदम है.
अहमदिया मुसलमान है?
भाई क्या दिक्कत है आपको इसमें?
अहमदिया मुसलमान है, अहमदिया मुसलमान है,
मैं तो
बोहरा मुसलमान, बोहरा मुसलमान है,
एकदम मुसलमान है. इसमें दिक्कत क्या है?
अहमदिया मुसलमान है, बोहरा मुसलमान है, पसमंदा मुसलमान है. नहीं, मेरे बिहार सब ने इनसे रुकिए ना. देखिए, हम है तो क्या हम है, तुम हो तो क्या तुम हो. अभी आप ही बोलते रहेंगे तो बाकी क्या बोलेंगे? थोड़ा उनको भी बोलने दीजिए, थोड़ा मुझे भी पूछने दीजिए. आपको मैंने रोका नहीं. अब आप सुनिए. अब नहीं, अब आप सुनिए. अब ये सारी रिप्रेजेंटेशन पिछले. यस, शाजिया अलमी जी. या
Anand, what I find completely shocking is that, imagine the community, we're talking about Muslims alone, and this is my question to the gentleman who spoke before me, who represents AIMIM. I want to ask him, sir, 9.5 lakh acres of land is under the central Waqf board and 32 state boards. And the conservative estimate of this land is 1.2 lakh crores. What has stopped these bodies to help out the Muslims and to give them any of the schemes and any of the provisions that you spoke about? When it comes to Taaleem or education, when it comes to scholarships, when it comes to financial assistance, when it comes to giving shelters, homes, and providing for the widows and those women who are divorced and who are destitute, What has stopped them? What came in the way? Okay, you are saying that BJP government has done precious little. I can go with that. But I'm asking you, what is the richest body? I mean, you know, this is the private, in terms of private bodies, because railways is under the government and so is defense. But this body, I mean, imagine the poorest community of India, and the Samajwadi Party and AIMIM and Congress keep talking about just how economically backward, educationally backward Muslims are. And yes, there are committees after committees that would tell you the same. But don't you find it shocking that the richest body, the richest community in terms of ownership of land has the poorest members in his community? Don't you find it completely shocking? What have these people done? I mean, they are the biggest enemies within the community, so to speak. And not just that, if you see Waqf board after Waqf board and see the corruption, and I can give you so many instances. One short story, and I'll finish with that. 2018, Amanatullah from Aam Aadmi Party takes over as chairperson of Waqf board. You know what is the first thing he does? He goes to the Anti-Corruption Bureau and he talks about 62 bighas of land given by Harun Yusuf and Haji Wateen, the Congress people, and how the 62 bighas was given to a private builder in Narela, and 25 paisa was given per unit as for rent. And not just that, it was declared as a lease property and the tenancy was for 10 years. Then come to 22. What happens? The same Amanatullah, the corruption charges, and there are 13 raids, and again the same story. So this is what the Waqf board has been doing, board after board, state after state, and this is exactly what's been doing. These people come here and say मुसलमान इतने मजबूर है, मजलूम है, क्या हो रहा है हमारे साथ? और सबसे अमीर बॉडी है, सबसे अमीर है मुसलमान लैंड को लेकर, लेकिन गरीबों के लिए कुछ नहीं करना है, बेवाओं के लिए कुछ नहीं करना है, रोजगार देने के लिए कुछ नहीं करना है. So, tell me how many Waqf boards have opened schools, universities, colleges, hospitals and shelter houses? Tell me how many Muslim youth have you worked on employing and working on his employability? Please tell me, do you have figures? And we are looking at a huge number, 1.2 lakh crores as an annual income, and which is a conservative estimate. So shame on you. Shame on you who's sitting there, who's trying to shame the Indian government.
Okay.
Shame on you for even asking this question.
Okay, Adil Hassan, quick response from Adil Hassan and then I'll bring in Tassim.
Corrupt cesspools for the Waqf boards.
Okay, Adil Hassan.
अकबर ओवैसी साहब ने विधानसभा में वक्फ के करप्शन का मुद्दा उठाया, लैंड ग्रैबिंग का मुद्दा उठाया, उन पर जानलेवा हमला हुआ. अकबर ओवैसी साहब ओवैसी स्कूल ऑफ एक्सीलेंस में 18,000 गरीब यतीम मासूम बच्चों को पढ़ा रहे हैं. 6,000 लड़कियों को फातिमा कॉलेज में ओवैसी में पढ़ा रहे हैं. उन पर हमला हुआ. हम सरकार में कभी नहीं रहे. हम तो आपसे गुजारिश कर रहे हैं कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट के सिटिंग जज से मेरा इंक्रोचमेंट लैंड हटवा दीजिए. सुप्रीम कोर्ट के सिटिंग जज से आप जांच करवा दीजिए जहां पर भ्रष्टाचार है वो खोलिए. आप जेल भेजिए मैडम. आप 10 साल से सरकार में. मोतिहारी में सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी में सेंट्रल में संस्कृत डिपार्टमेंट शुरू हो गया. 10 साल यूनिवर्सिटी को हुए हुए उर्दू नहीं हो पाया. बिहार की सेकंड लैंग्वेज है. नीतीश कुमार ने
अरे तो आप ये आपको सी द पॉइंट इज one second. Let's not shout over each other. Adil Hassan, if you are saying that the principal patrons of the AIMIM, 1 minute to the lady and the gentleman, 1 minute, please calm down. If Mr. Adil Hassan, you are saying that Mr. Owaisi himself has raised the issue of Waqf corruption, then he should be the one backing. 1 minute, Shahzaji, I can't hear you. 1 second.
You know, since I've gotten into public life, how Muslims are being discriminated. Shouldn't the Waqf board, say chairpersons and the management be asked these questions?
Yes.
They're the richest.
What I'm saying is, here's my point.
The Muslim landowners.
Correct. Here's my point. My point is, and before Tausif and Anand Ranganathan come in, the point is that Mr. Adil Hassan is saying that the Owaisis themselves have raised the issue of Waqf board corruption. If they've raised the issue of Waqf board corruption, then they should welcome the amendments and the fact that want to hold the Waqf boards accountable and also give people who have a problem. Now, you talked about the courts. I just want to read this out. Single judge bench of Justice G.S. Ahluwalia in 2024, 26 July 2024 says Waqf board has no jurisdiction over property declared as ancient monument. Supreme Court on 1st September 2010 says bench of Justice Kaju and Justice T.S. Thakur, civil courts will continue to have jurisdiction over disputes related to Waqf and its property despite Waqf tribunals. Supreme Court on 18th May 2023, bench of Justice Ramasubramanian and Justice Mithal said mere publication of a notification was not enough to recognize a property as Waqf. Supreme Court on 10th April 2018, Chief Justice Deepak Mishra's bench, headed by Chief Justice Deepak Mishra, he says Sunni Waqf Board UP to present concrete documents to prove Taj Mahal is a Waqf property. At all points, the courts have only questioned the functioning of the Waqf and the rationale used by the Waqf. So at various points, sir, there is something very, very wrong. Even within the community, they believe there is something wrong, there is mismanagement. You hold the highest amount of land as a private body. The valuation of rent accrual, as Shazia Almi now says, is estimated at 1.2 lakh crore. And then you say that Muslims are a backward community and Muslims don't have anything. If you have 1.2 lakh crore as accruals or rent estimated, then where are you spending it on the community? If you're not, then somebody is pocketing it, right? Somebody is sitting on this revenue. And you've not been able to regulate that. Anand Ranganathan and then Tausif. Anand Ranganathan.
Good evening, Anand, for this marvelous discussion. Look, only three things are certain in an Indian's life: death, taxes, and that knowingly or unknowingly he ends up walking every day on Waqf land. The issue is not so much that the Waqf Act appeases Muslims. The problem is that it discriminates against non-Muslims. The Waqf Act, in fact, is one of 8 reasons why I believe Hindus are 8th-class citizens in their own country. It is a parallel government being run by the state. In the board, it has its own legislature. In the surveyor, it has its own executive. And in the tribunal, it has its own judiciary. Anand, let me be very blunt. If India is to be saved from becoming an Islamic republic, the Waqf board shouldn't just be amended. It should be abrogated. Because Anand, the amendments are welcome, but they don't go far enough. First, the amendments, number 1, yes, good. That Waqf properties now have to be mandatorily registered with district collector's office, good. Government properties identified as Waqf properties will not be considered Waqf properties unless district collector decides on them, good. Property will not be considered Waqf based on oral declaration, good. Government will have the authority to order audits of Waqf property, excellent. Section 107 that said, remarkably, that the statute of limitation will not apply for recovery of Waqf properties is now gone. Excellent. So is section 40 that said the Waqf board can declare any property as Waqf property, and if it is a property that was held by a trust, the board needs to notify the registrar, who may or may not notify the trust. Excellent that women will now also be on the board. But here is the thing. A lot of draconian sections still remain. For example, just a little bit of detail here. Section 28 gives Waqf the power to order a collector to implement the decisions of the board, whatever they may be. Section 8 says the state has to pay for the Waqf survey. This is in direct violation of Article 27 of our Constitution, Anand, that says, quote, no person shall be compelled to pay any taxes, the proceeds of which are specifically appropriated in promotion or maintenance of any particular religion or religious denomination. Section 101 says the survey commissioner, members of the board, every officer, every auditor of the board, and every other person appointed to the discharging of any duties imposed on him by this act shall be deemed to be a public servant, as is understood by the IPC. You know what happens when you touch a public servant, literally or metaphorically, don't you? Correct. Section 54 gives the power to declare you an encroacher. Waqf tribunal decision can only be overturned by a long and financially draining legal process, not for nothing. Is Waqf now the 3rd largest landowner in India? People are scared to go to the courts. 77% of Delhi owns Waqf land. Look, even the Delhi High Court judges have opined that Waqf land is Allah's and Allah's alone, and that the government cannot be the owner of this land. Just 30 seconds. Anand, what's going on here? Muslims claimed in court that Gyan Vyapi, built atop a Hindu temple, is on Waqf land. So was Kashi Vishwanath, demolished by Aurangzeb, also on Waqf land? अरे गंगा जमुना तहसीब बोल बोल के गंगा भी ले ली और यमुना भी. I ask you finally 10 seconds. How on earth can a 1500-year-old Hindu temple on Tamil Nadu be adjudged to be by Waqf on Islamic land when Islam is only 1300 years old? Please मुझे समझा दो. आदिल भाई आप समझा दो.
The game that's been played is about the papers and the claimants, and what's been said, Tausif, is that many of these people, what they do is they deliberately transfer disputed land to Waqf and take it back from the Waqf and run it as per on rent, and that's a 25 paisa 1 rupee rent. Now that's the game that's being played, which is a dangerous game. There is a lot that can be said, and I've explained about 15 such instances across Bharat where it's non-Muslim land, non-Muslim owned land where again it's gotten into dispute. But even Muslims have come out and said, हमारे साथ भी तो गलत हो रहा है. We don't have a representation and we don't know how to deal with this mafia which is running roughshod over the entire community without equal or fair representation. Tausif, your thoughts?
Absolutely.
No, Anand, you are absolutely right when you said representation. You see, so the law of Waqf is way old, 1400 years old, and the Waqf Act is just about 100 years old. Now, you see, there are two aspects to this. The amendment which the BJP government is trying to bring has a lot of illegalities. I'll come to that later.
Okay.
Secondly, the Modi government, which wants to bring this amendment, has a trust deficit. This BJP government, this Modi government does not have even a single Muslim MP either in Rajya Sabha or in Lok Sabha, and they are trying to legislate the Waqf board or the Waqf Act. They want to take control of that, which is the third largest owner of land in India. The first and second being the railway and the defense. It is the Waqf board which is the accumulatively which is the third largest owner of land in India, and these are all lands owned by the forefathers of the Muslim community and dedicated for the purpose of religious and charity. Now, if the government wants to bring any amendment, it has to be in conformity with the Constitution of India. It cannot be illegal. I'll give you just one example.
Okay.
Like under Muslim personal law, a gift can be given, a valid gift can be made, which is called hiba, verbally. But here, and similarly, Waqf also, under the existing law, can be created verbally, a valid Waqf. There are certain criteria which have to be met. But under the new amendment, they are seeking to make it only documented. Unless it is in writing and registered, it will not be treated as a valid Waqf, which is in sharp contrast to the Muslim law principle. And therefore, and it is only in one example. There are several. Like I'm telling you, collector is being given a power. Basically, please give me 30 seconds. You see, basically, a state Waqf board, which is formed by the nominees of the state government, the power from them are being taken away and being centralized by the central government. The power to decide whether a land is Waqf or not will be decided by the collector and not by the tribunal or through the Waqf board, which is the current scheme of the law.
Are you trying to say that the collector of a particular district, is going to be all collectors of the 720 odd districts in Bharat are compromised, sir? That seems to be unfair. That seems to be unfair.
I am saying
the other part, sir, is in our country. No, the other part, sir, is in our country. Are direct
Muslim properties. That is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Modi government wants to usurp Muslim properties.
I'll come to everybody. Let's not speak over each other.
Imposed by government
Tausif, please yield.
and the revenue officer
Tausif, please yield. Tausif, please yield. Okay, okay, final 30 seconds. Ji, Shazia Almi.
I'm saying just because it's Waqf property, do you think it should be exempted from the scrutiny of a revenue officer?
Yes.
And every land, every property, every bit of parcel of land that anybody owns has to be verified. And that has to be done by the revenue officer. And it all has to be in all the such entities with big land parcels have to have the audits. How can you have such opacity and such huge land parcels? And how can you have people not being able to challenge the decision of the tribunal? It isn't that, and have no remedy whatsoever. I mean, is 1995 Waqf Act above the law, above the Constitution? I find this so random. I mean, which world are you living in? I'm sure, 1995 came about because Congress party felt that the Muslims had gone away after the demolition of the mosque. So that is why they brought in 1995 and gave unlimited, unfettered powers. But that does not mean that Waqf laws
we'll see.
From other laws
I have to move on because we should have the Union Minister, former Minority Affairs Minister Smriti Irani with us any moment now. But the fact is that the JPC, it is going to be analysed threadbare, and the government is sending it to JPC and saying everybody sit together and think about it. That means they have done their homework. and they're not bulldozing this. They're not bulldozing this. They've sent it to JPC. Let's see what the parties, everybody has to say behind closed doors. Thank you very much. Thank you.